Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. So today we are going to explore together the AI agent, which is created by Make. So what is the AI agent? It's simply, let's say, an intelligent agent, which is autonomous and can make decisions. Today, Make is simply doing this update so that we can really create scenarios or systems that are very advanced, more complex, and that can actually help us gain even more productivity and time. In reality, Make launched this a little bit as a response to N8N, which already has an agent that has been set up with which hundreds and hundreds of workflows have been created. But today, we will try to fully understand what the AI Make agent is, what its configurations are, what the inputs are, and what the outputs are. And above all, I will help you completely from A to Z to create here, starting from a blank page. We will really start from scratch, setting up an agent, create a workflow that will simply be a virtual assistant to help me handle all my tasks that I do every day. Responding to emails, sending emails, checking my inbox, consulting with my team, checking my schedule. There will be several tasks. Today, I will ask Make with its AI agent to handle all of that. It will just take orders from me, and then it will start working in a 100% autonomous manner. To use it, you need to know that you will need an agent, AI, so this beta version. That's why I've included here in the description the link to sign up for Make and have this option. The training, the video is made 100% for beginners even if you don't know Make. Don't worry, we will really go into creating a scenario with the connection of all the modules from scratch. I thank you very much. So, just before continuing the training on YouTube, I wanted to introduce myself very quickly for those who don't know me. My name is Firas, I have a PhD in Artificial Intelligence, and today I am an instructor on the Udemy platform. On this platform, I teach courses in marketing, business, and artificial intelligence. And if you go to the marketing category, you will find that I have several courses there, and I am ranked as the most popular instructor in France in those categories. You will see that I have profiles that contain the badge, Udemy Partner Instructor, and most of my courses also have the badge, Best Seller. Among my accounts on Udemy, I have approximately 120,000 students who have taken my courses here. And of course, we have more than 14,000 positive reviews. Today, I am also a member of the N with N community, where I actually publish my workflows. These are workflows that I customize for PART companies and share with you for free for the purpose of learning. To finally thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel on my website, which you will find the link here. I have gathered my courses that are currently available on Udemy, which are the best sellers. And you simply have direct access to benefit from these courses. This is a token of my appreciation for your loyalty. Use this coupon to access these courses. I thank you very much and enjoy the course. Well, so now I would like to start with this diagram, a diagram that was obviously drawn by the official Make website. I will explain a little bit about the description of their agent. So, the agent, in fact, as you can see, there are a few, let's say, 5 pieces of information that are very important. First, my agent here has what we call instructions. This means that on Make, when I create an agent, I will give it instructions, basic inscriptions, because today on Make, the same agent can be used multiple times in different scenarios. And that is a small advantage, because I won't be obliged every time I create, in fact, a new scenario that is completely different from an old scenario. But somewhere I would actually need an agent that does the copywriting or an agent that does the writing. Articles that specialize in that. Instead of recreating this agent, there's no need. We will simply call upon this agent, so as a result, we have 7.7. This concept of reusing ODC, the agent, so the AI, in fact, it has instructions. I set it up once. These instructions need to be added to that agent. Every time we call upon that agent, it will take the basic instructions. And the advantage today, when I call upon an agent in a specific scenario, I can give it what we call the context. And if you will, the context is somewhat other instructions that are specific to the ongoing scenario. So, I have an agent that specializes in writing, for example, articles. But when I call upon this agent for a scenario that is in the In research, I will add a few more instructions, set the context so that it can be even more precise in a specific theme. Or if I am going to place this agent in a scenario where it writes articles for my website, which is a website about everything related to pet stores. So as a result, I will add more to these writing skills, additional specifications, so that it can be oriented heavily towards pet stores or, well, an e-commerce site, or in fact, whatever the subject may be. Then, next, here, I have what we call tools, a little bit like tools. So when I create an agent, I can actually give it some tools and key tools so that it can choose and execute them if needed. This means the agent, when I give it an order, when it receives a request, it will then execute it. It must send information, use other tools to get data, information. And so when I created my scenario, by the way, I can assign it default tools. That is to say, every time I call upon this agent in a scenario, I can add new tools to it, just as I can also use the tools that already exist. But a question, what is it here? Tools. Is it simply, for example, a module like the module Gmail, or a module like Calendar or Google Drive? No. Quite simply here, the concept in make. If I say tools, it means a scenario. So quite simply, I will call upon several scenarios so that they can execute them. And sometimes even a scenario can have just a single module. So I would put Gmail in it, but I could also put 5 or 6 modules at the same time. So as a result, the strength today of this make agent is that inside this guy, I can actually put several tools. And these tools, in reality, these are actually multiple scenarios that can be executed all at once or just one, depending on the choice of this agent. Here, in terms of what they have, if you want, I can, with respect to a single specific scenario, ask it to add an additional scenario that will be specially added for an ongoing scenario, but not for the new default agent. And we also have what we call variables. So what are variables? For each scenario on previously, we actually had to create what we call a trigger, so that this trigger would bring in the data, and these data would feed the workflow to make it function. But today, I define something we call a variable, and it is this agent that will be responsible for filling in the information and details of these variables, the values. And so, as a result, each of the scenarios that exist in tools, here, they don't have a trigger, they are only in format, on demand. That means as soon as the agent calls them, it will also send the variables along. So it will know how to fill in the variables. So this is a brief description of the agent. It's true that we're not currently seeing the practice, but as soon as I start to open and create my first scenario and day, and I create a new agent, you will see that these 5 elements, their placement at where we are going to place them. So it's very important for me that you understand a little bit. What is it? The inputs, the outputs, and the different pieces of information surrounding the agent. Once we have detected and identified these 5 pieces of information, you will see. When I create a new agent, I will find the 5, and each time, of course, we will fill in each piece of information at the specific moment, of course, so that I will have an agent with all 5 elements. So right away, we will start creating our first scenario, and we will develop it a little bit step by step so that in the end, we have these 5 elements connected and have a complete scenario that works and runs. So let's go. Here I am on the dashboard, so of the guy, and of course we will just do the classic things. It's clicking here to create a new scenario. Of course, to be able to use the agents, it was absolutely necessary to see this option that appears. Today, this option is not available in all countries for free accounts. If you haven't found this option, you simply need to switch to a paid account on Make to Benefit from this feature. So here I click to create a new scenario. I will simply start setting up and fully configuring my AI agent. So here, when I enter to create the agent, you just need to click here, and then I will simply type agent. So when I type agent, of course, I need to actually add AI. So AI make, that's the one I'm interested in. It's make AI agent. So when I select, of course, it's in verified mode. Today it's in beta mode, but very soon, of course, it will switch to regular usage mode. So here I click on run and part agent to execute my agent. So there you go. The agent has just been created. Now you will see that, of course, I will have a few settings to configure. So here there is the creation of the agent. For me to create the agent, remember to give it basic instructions. Later on, I will have the option to add tools here. So if I create the agent and give it basic tools, they will appear here automatically. But here too, in the current scenario, I can add different tools. There is also the possibility here to create the session ID, which we will see later, allowing us to keep the history. Here, I can add what we call the context, additional, system, instruction. Here, it's so that I can add other plans to further refine the agent according to the current scenario. And here, I can add the message in case there are inputs, so of course it must go and receive the message. And here, in fact, there is a configuration. If you choose yes here, it's generally if you have placed an agent that will, there you go, handle a lot of information. And do you want in parallel for the system to actually continue executing the other modules? But generally, we don't need that. We simply need to wait for the leg to finish so that afterwards I can move to the output hall. In fact, go to the next module. So generally, we leave it in mode. No, so that we can let the agent finish the work 100% so that I can subsequently execute the different nodes. And generally, the nodes that are just after are nodes that will call other scenarios or output nodes to send me the message or execute the information properly. So here, what I'm going to do for now, after clicking here to create, I will obviously come here to simply give it a name. So for me, this is the main scenario, because you will see later we will create several sub-scenarios. So here, I will simply write here, main. So here, so that I can actually remember that this is going to be the main scenario where I will execute my different systems. And here, I will simply click on create an agent to be able to do the basic configuration. The first, there you go. So information to put on my agent. And here we go. So now I click to create. So I make a first connection. You will see that today, when I create an agent, I can use them a little bit everywhere. So that's why here, later, I can have multiple agents. The first thing it will ask me, in fact, is the type of connection, which means a little bit the brain of this agent. What do you want to use, as there are, and there you will mainly find. In fact, here are the most well-known artificial intelligences, the most well-known models of opinions. Mistral, Grok, Gemini. In any case, there you will choose the intelligence that interests you. Of course, for each of these models, you simply need to create your API. So, I would take a very simple case that I often use, which is that of OpenAI. So, when I click on OpenAI, of course, it will ask me for two important pieces of information. First piece of information, the API key. Second piece of information, the organization ID. So, to make it easy and simple, you will just look here, here, and there. You will find that there is a link to create these two pieces of information. So if I click here, it will take me to the official OpenAI platform where I can create my key. So here, I will click here, and it will obviously ask me to log in with my OpenAI account. So here, I click on login. And there you go. So I'm logged in, and what I'm going to do here is simply create my key. I give a name to the key, so here we'll call it, in fact, make demo. So, of course, when I click on create my secret key, be careful, this is a key that you should simply keep in a place. In fact, keep it protected, because this key is actually like your password. Okay, so for me, this is just for the video demonstration. Later, we will simply destroy it, so there's no need to copy it. So I'm going to take it here, go back to my scenario, and there I actually classify the API here. The same thing here, when it actually needs what we call the organization ID, I open this link, and here is the organization ID. You will simply, in fact, copy it. So here, I'm just going to do it like this. There you go, make a copy. And there, I come back here, and there, I'm going to paste it. So as a result here, my system has just established the connection with the OpenAI model so that it can simply think and make decisions. Note, here, I can actually, of course, give a name to my agent. So it's very important for me that you give a clear, explicit name here. Why? because this agent, you will use it later in other scenarios if you ever need to. So as a result, if you leave a name like that or a name that isn't very clear, you won't remember, in fact, what the configuration of this agent is. And you will see sometimes, and this is a bit of an advantage of Make, if I create an agent, it will actually be good to create it once and invest in putting the right print. And if the information is necessary so that my agent, in fact, I can reuse it later and save a lot of time in creating an agent. So here, in fact, since he will be my assistant, I will give him a little name here so that I can remember this agent. Here, I simply place this name so that every time I need an assistant, I call upon this agent. Now the model. So the model, there are a lot of models. For me, the one I often use is the GPT-4o Mini. So in terms of cost, quality, and speed is the best actually, especially if it's going to execute tasks and particularly in writing like emails and such. It is the best. Now we will simply need to place the imprint here. So this is a print, let's say the general print, the basic print, because thanks to this print, we will later have the possibility to add other prints. Don't worry, to provide the context for you to advance. But it's very interesting to set the basic print so that I can simply develop and improve it later. So here, I can simply place a little print there. So there, we will tell it that here it is. My assistant, who will help me complete tasks, the everyday tasks. So now my agent is ready. I click on save and it has just been saved. So this agent here, I can do save here. You will see that there, in fact, the agent has just been created. If I come back here in the path, in reality, what have I done? Quite simply, up to this point, I have done this step. So the step where I created the agent and I just put the basic instructions. Of course, I can modify it, add configuration, and improve the quality of this agent. This is what we will do gradually as we try to imagine scenarios and make the necessary configurations for this agent. Now, so that we can start adding other information and data on the law scenario, we will try to add here, as input, a connection to communicate with this agent. Of course, afterwards, we will develop it further according to the idea and creation of a more advanced assistant. But to start, I will choose a module to send information to this agent. So I can really choose from many modules. I can use a form, I can use WhatsApp, I can use Messenger, I can use Slack, I can use a lot of tools where I can add text or audio or video. And the agent will receive it so that it can perform a specific task. To keep it easy and simple, we will go with Telegram. Telegram because it is very easy to configure. And there with Telegram, of course, when I click here, look at show more, there you will see that with Telegram I can perform a lot of tasks. But for me, what interests me is that I want the system to do a watching, meaning it will check if it receives a message or information. That's what interests me. If it receives a message, it will send it to the AI agent. So then I will click here. So then this Telegram, every time I use my Telegram, I'll show you. So this is my Telegram. And every time I send a message on Telegram, here it will capture it and it will send it to this agent. So here I click on create a webhook. So here, of course, it will ask me to give a name to this webhook. So Telegram bot, and there I will simply set it. Assistant, so that I can remember this part here. Because here, in fact, when we create a Telegram, you will see here, so that I can get in touch with my system. Somewhere, in fact, I had to write here. There you go. Let's say a discussion that is a part, and that this part will actually create the connections. So here, I am going to give it a name, because I can use them if I want. And there, you will see that a connection is created. So here, I click on create a connection. And there, it will actually ask me for a token, and here, I will show you how I create a token. So here, I will always put it here so that I remember. So how am I going to write the token? So quite simply, you will search on bot. That is, you open Telegram. You can, of course, download it on your phone, on your PC. And then you will search in the chat for an account called bot. When you enter that one, you will come here. So to send a message, you type / and you will find here a little name called new. Bot. That's the one, in fact, that interests me. New bot. So here, I click on new bot. And of course, it will ask me what is the name of your new bot that you want to create. So here I will simply call it. Let's do it like this, doctor. Assistant. Now I don't know if it will accept it because it has to be unique, not used by someone else. So we'll see if someone else has used it or not. Let's see. Okay, so now. Okay, very well. So now it just created it. It has what it asks of me. In fact, he tells me there now we are going to create what we actually call the user. So suddenly here is the username. So now we are going to create the username. It must end with the word boot. So of course here, I'm going to do the same thing, doctor. Assistant. Then here I will put Tariba and then I will add the word boot. Okay, I will press enter. Ah, it has been used. It's not a problem. So now we will do doctor. Assistant. I would like my first name and then I would add bout. So I think it will be available. There you go. So we just created it. Now, there are two pieces of information that interest me first. The first piece of information is this link here. These links here, this is the link of my boot. And so if I want to connect with this scenario, I will use this link. This is the new chat and the token is this one. So as a result, I will copy everything with attention. I copy everything, even in these numbers, the colons, I take everything. I will make a copy. So now I will copy the code. There you go. And I come back here. There you go. And I will place it there, the token. That's good. So now look, the token. Ah, no. The token was not copied correctly. We will copy it again. You have to be very careful. So you really have to go. So copy it and verify it. To be sure, there you go. So it has just been added. So now I will save. So I have just made the connection. So now it is connecting. In fact, quite simply with my system. So now I click on save. There you go. And now I also click on save. Very, very well. So now, it's good. So Telegram and connect them. So of course, if I click on this link here, look at this assistant that we just wrote together. I can start chatting with it to be able to know if the system works or not. First, this Telegram here, I want it to be the trigger. I want it to be the initiator. So that's why, look, that's actually this icon there. To say that the agent is the trigger, I'm going to hold it like that. And hop, we're going to place it. Here, there you go. So here, it's my Telegram that is the trigger, and now we're going to connect the two. So now, there we go. So now they are well connected. So now I'm obviously saving. And so as a result, now I have my system that has just been connected. So to test if it works or not, I'm going to click on the scenario launch so that it is in standby mode. So now I click here. Look here, it is waiting for me to do something here. So the action I'm going to take is simply to click here on start to see if it responds or not. So to see if it detects that it has been done or not. There you go. So now start, it works. So as a result, it has received the order to start, of course. So now the message is start, so it has begun the launch. And here, quite simply, we see the information here. The agent has not actually given any order or execution.